Greetings, San Francisco.
Yes. Where are you, Nelly?
Well, I'm still in Barcelona, Bill, you know. It is not
okay. All right. Okay. I'm sorry. I apologize.
But as you can see, we have wonderful startup founders from all over the world here. And
wow.
here in Zoom, we have those who will present their 20-second pitches after your lecture. And in YouTube, we will have online those people who want to learn from you and to support other startups in their pitches, and also who could not join because we have this limitation of only 10 people.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Okay. So so let me get my slides ready. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna, let's see, fiddle with that. And so hold on, let's see. Where'd it go?
Guys, startups, except Bill, please mute your microphones so that there are no external noises. Thank you very much.
Okay, this is, let's see if this works. Whoops.
Anton, give me a hint when we are ready to start.
Sorry?
Anton, give me the hint when we are ready to start.
Oh, I'm ready. I'm really sorry I'm late.
No, not you, Anton. Sorry, that's okay. Anton Rustra, everything is okay. You can mute your microphone now. Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Everybody's watching us, so everyone is looking beautiful. Bill, hi there from my side. Everything, I think, is working already, so we can start whenever you are ready.
So, Bill Reichert, please let me know when you will be ready, because you were checking your presentation.
Okay. This is really, I got what? I got a minute and a half. I have a minute and a half. So this is, this is bad. This is bad pitch behavior that I'm editing my slides a minute before I go on stage.
A very typical one, correct?
Well, we don't know what's happening with the rest of the projects right now. Maybe they're also editing their pitches.
Well, they've got to, because almost certainly after they hear my session, they better edit their pitch. But you know, we'll see how that goes. Okay, now let's see if I can share the screen. And it says share screen. There's the screen, share it. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can. Maybe, yeah, I will start with the brief introduction. However, I'm sure that you do not need to be introduced because everyone knows who you are, but still, guys, good day to everyone. Today we have this special online webinar where we have Bill Reichert, founder of Garage Technology Ventures, very active and very recognized venture company from Silicon Valley. He is also the partner of Pegasus Ventures, a big international venture firm which invests all over the world. Today we have this very special lecture by Bill Reichert, which is titled Getting to Wow. Getting to Wow is the series of tips and very good advices about how to polish and practice your investment pitch into just 20 seconds. There is a rule in marketing that you have 20 seconds win or bin, meaning that during the first 20 seconds, you can attract the attention of your potential partner or customer, and then he will grant you more time to deliver your value proposition and everything you want to tell him. If you win these 20 seconds, you win the attention. If you lose, oops. So that works for investors as well. And today, Bill himself will actually share his expertise and knowledge about that. Listen attentively, and hello, Bill.
Okay, good morning. Well, for a few of you, most of you, it's afternoon or evening, I gather. Is that fair?
For some people, even deep night.
Okay, well, Nelly, thank you so much for inviting me to do this today. It is my pleasure and honor to join everyone during this session today. As Nelly mentioned, the big idea here is I'm gonna go through an overview of some of the lessons that I've learned over the years, both as an entrepreneur and as a venture capital investor, and share with you those learnings to help you hopefully improve the way you pitch. And I call it getting to wow. And the big point of getting to wow is that it's not good enough to have a good enough pitch. It's not good enough to fill out the template that says, you know, problem, solution, technology, go to market, financials, blah, 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 blah. That's not good enough. Somehow, somewhere very early on in your pitch, you've got to figure out how to get them to say, wow, that's amazing. I want to hear more. And I realized that over the years, as a VC community, we've actually wound up doing damage to entrepreneurs. The way we teach entrepreneurs to do pitches is actually wrong in many ways, because fundamentally is not a presentation. So a presentation means that you've got a fixed amount of time and you put, you know, content, you lay out your content into that fixed amount of time. But in most of life, you don't have a fixed amount of time. You've got to grab someone and convince them to keep listening to you. So it's really important that you figure out how to grab them at the beginning. So one of the things that I discovered over the years is as much time as we spend training entrepreneurs on how to do what we call the elevator pitch, really your elevator pitch is only useful in one very narrow application. And believe it or not, it's not getting on an elevator. Because, you know, one of the dirty little secrets in Silicon Valley is there are no elevators in Silicon Valley. So the reason we teach entrepreneurs to do an elevator pitch is simply to force you guys to cut it short, because most VCs can't stand listening to entrepreneurs for 10 or 20 minutes. So we invented the elevator pitch to cut you short. But in fact, the only time you use an elevator pitch is in an elevator pitch competition. So that's fine. You should have an elevator pitch. You're going to have elevator pitch competitions. You need to do that well. But that's not most of your pitch experience. Most of your pitch experience is defined by the reality of the world today, which is that you have 20 seconds to be compelling, or you might as well go home. This was Nelly's original point. So what is the secret to being compelling in the first 20 seconds? Well, it turns out it has something to do with human anatomy. Now, most people at this point are going to be wondering, where is this guy going? So what we have learned over the years is that an effective communicator engages with 3 body parts. What are the 3 body parts you've got to connect with to be an effective communicator? Well, the first one pretty much everybody gets, and that's the head. You've got to connect with the brain. So what you say has got to make sense to the person who's listening. So it's got to be logical, the language has to be clear, it has to make sense with our understanding with the way the world works. And that's, you know, a logical, data-based, evidence-driven presentation. So Nelly didn't give a lot of my background, but just to share kind of the context for how I came to all this. So I started this out many, many, many years ago. I came to Silicon Valley as a graduate student at Stanford, and I wound up starting my first company when I was a graduate student at Stanford. Now, this is, as you can tell, maybe a long time ago. And before it was fashionable for graduate students at Stanford to start companies, but it was, sort of an accident. That's not the reason I had come to Stanford, but I started a software company with a friend of mine. And so, starting it up, we were taught, you put together a business plan, you put together a pitch, and the pitch has to be, a logical argument in favor of your company, backed by evidence, backed by data, overwhelm the audience with the power of your argument, and they will be forced to agree that it is logically sound for you to, for the investor to invest in this company. So that's how I was trained, and that is to this day still how we spend about 99% of all of our entrepreneur training. And then I became a VC. So I won't go through all the exciting details, but I wound up doing 4 software startups, 2 of which crashed and burned, but the other 2 went public. So I thought, let's try something different. So I got together with Guy Kawasaki and a few other people, and we started Garage Technology Ventures. And the big idea behind Garage was we wanted to be the first venture capital firm in Silicon Valley that was designed for the benefit of entrepreneurs. So what did that mean? We thought that was a radical concept. And what it meant was we wanted to be outreach oriented. We wanted to share with entrepreneurs our own learnings as entrepreneurs, our mistakes as well as our successes and our observations about what worked. And we wanted to be open to entrepreneurs. We wanted to be accessible to entrepreneurs for them to ask questions. And our thought was the more open we were, the more we would learn, the more we would be exposed to all of the ideas that were out there, and that would benefit us as an investment firm, as opposed to the traditional venture capital society, which is very closed, generally an old boys network, not very accessible. So we went out doing conferences and speeches and books and all sorts of things. And I would do a lot of these elevator pitch panel judging things. And I realized, oh my God, this is terrible. What are we doing wrong? What are we doing wrong? Well, we were trying to figure out, how it is that VCs invest. So I started going around to all of my new VC buddies and saying, hey, I'm a VC now. So tell me, how do you invest? Because when I was an entrepreneur, I thought that VCs were these amazing analytic brains who could process all of the data that entrepreneurs were throwing at them. And they had some sort of algorithm in their head, and they could, manipulate all this data, calculate an internal return, and make these brilliant investment decisions. So I go to my new VC buddies. When we started Garage, we were funded by Sequoia and Mayfield and Draper Fisher Jurvetson, and a whole bunch of brand name VCs funded us to help them find, sort of the next wave of interesting companies. So I go to my new VC buddies and I say, okay, now I'm one of you. Tell me, what's the algorithm? And the VCs would look at me and go, well, Bill, we invest in teams. That's how we invest. We invest in teams. And I go, okay, I've heard you say that on, panels, but, what are the analytics? How do you measure a team and decide if one team is better than another team? And they looked at me and they said, well, it's kind of pattern recognition. After 5 or 10 years, you'll get the hang of it. And I thought, oh my God, this is nothing like what I thought venture capital was all about. I thought venture capital was this intensely analytic, data-driven process. But it isn't, it turns out. So I started watching how all my peers were making investment decisions. And I started watching how we were doing our investment decisions, because we were trying to be, data-driven, analytic. And I had this epiphany. I discovered something that nobody had ever taught me before. It turns out VCs do not invest with their brains. VCs invest with their hearts. The secret to winning venture capital
is you've got to get them to fall in love. You've got to get their heart racing. You got to get their pulse racing. You got to get them excited. It's not good enough to appeal to the logic of their brain. You've got to get them to fall in love with you. And so the challenge for every entrepreneur is you've got to figure out what is lovable about what you're doing. You know, it's not good enough to be good enough. You've got to be exceptional. You've got to be exciting. You've got to get them to say, wow. You got to get them to fall in love. So that's actually the main message that I want to deliver here. But I've got some other specific points to help you get there from here. So I've mentioned 2 body parts. There's a third body part. What's the third body part you've got to connect with? Well, the third body part is the gut. Now, in what I've discovered is around the world in every culture, this is not always the same. And this doesn't always translate. But what does translate is all of us know that as human beings, as soon as we are exposed to a new person or a new idea or something novel, we as human beings are wired to have an immediate instinctive reaction to that thing, whatever it is. And usually when we're talking about a person, you know, research has shown we have an immediate reaction as to whether or not we trust that person or don't trust that person, whether we think that person's telling the truth or whether we think that person's not telling the truth, whether we want to spend more time with that person or whether we want to run away. So every entrepreneur has got to figure out how to pass the gut check, the gut test. And that means you've got to be the kind of person that an investor instinctively believes and trusts and want to spend more time with. So the challenge that a lot of entrepreneurs have is a lot of entrepreneurs have been taught that, you know, they've got to have such a big idea that's going to make so much money that they come on with this sort of extreme presentation of their vision that is totally lacking in credibility, and then they push the investor away. If you come on too strong in terms of exaggerating the likelihood of your success, then a lot of entrepreneurs are going to be instinctively turned away by you. So you've got to pass the gut check as well. So I don't know if you guys can to go to chat to confirm all this or not, but it'd be interesting to see. Let's see, do I even see chat? I don't know if I see chat, but question to all of you. I want all of you to answer this question, at least in your heads if you can't get to the chat room, and that is 3 body parts, head, heart, gut. Which is the most important? I should have access to the chat room. I don't know. Where'd it go? Let's see. Is that it? There it is. All right. Head, heart, gut. Come on, guys. Head or heart or gut? Which is the most important? So we got heart, the heart. We got gut. Well, so I will just kill the suspense here. The most important is the heart. The most important is the heart. So I just want to, I'm checking to see if you're listening carefully. So yes, you have to pass the gut check. You have to pass the gut check, but that's not good enough. You've got to get them to fall in love. Indeed, you've got to get all 3 things. You've got to get the head, you've got to get the heart, and you've got to get the gut. So in contrast to that, let me share with you what we experience as typical elevator pitches. So typically, an entrepreneur, either they show up on stage or they show up in our office, wherever we get a typical elevator pitch, and they come on with the following. The name has been changed to protect the guilty, but this is a typical intro from a startup company. Coolco is a dynamic startup company that has developed a revolutionary technology that's going to disrupt our $56 billion industry. Our team has over 45 years of combined experience, and we have 3 patents pending. We project that our curve-jumping, paradigm-shifting solution will transform the blah, 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 blah. Pretty typical of what we get. And let me tell you that an expression that can mean anything means nothing. Too many entrepreneurs, they have these very high level, lofty phrases, you know, we're going to empower our industry, or we're going to whatever, our, you know, customers. And those kinds of expressions don't mean anything. So stay away from that stuff. Now, on the flip side of the coin, oh dear, I lost one of my slides. Oh no. So on the flip side of the coin, a team came into our office and you know, they put up their slide deck and they put up their title slide and they said, we use a 2048 Diffie-Hellman key exchange and 256-bit triple DES to encrypt your IoT devices. And, you know, we're sitting there going, yeah. Now, I mean, a lot of you guys probably out there in the audience can understand what a 2048 Diffie-Hellman key exchange is and what 256-bit triple DES is. But for most venture guys, the reaction is going to be this. And, you know, you're going to be here. You do not want to be here. And far too often, this is where entrepreneurs are, and they don't even realize it in the, you know, at the beginning of their pitch. So you want to figure out how to get to wow. So let me tell you, I'm going to tell you some tips on how to get to wow. Before I do, what I want to do is I want to disabuse you of some of the things that you generally will hear from pitch coaches. And this goes back to my point that a pitch is not a presentation. But pitch coaches will almost always tell you, as entrepreneurs, they'll almost always tell you that you should start with the problem. And, you know, it makes logical sense, right? Because you have problem, solution, and that is sort of a nice, obvious structure. But the result of this is that these entrepreneurs, they come into our office and, you know, it turns out they have a medical technology of some sort and they launch into the problem. And it turns out the problem is that millions of people die every year from cancer. And, you know, here's the cancer rate, and here is the cancer technology, and here is all the, you know, cancer stuff we've been working on. We've been pouring billions and billions of dollars into cancer. And they go on for 3 or 4 minutes talking about the problem that people die from cancer. Well, you know, finally, 5 minutes into the presentation, you know, they get to some technology that says we are going to assist in curing some type of cancer. Well, you know, guess what? We know people are dying from cancer, and we don't need to be told that they're dying from cancer. So just cut to the chase. Tell us exactly what your solution is. And I will tell you, you know, and I challenge, you know, every pitch coach I come across who pushes back on this, which is, if you just tell me what your solution is, 9 times out of 10 or 19 times out of 20, if you just tell me what the solution is, it's obvious what problem you are solving. And instead of enumerating all the problems that are out there, your benefits, your value proposition are the solutions to the problem. So if you tell us the solution and your benefits, then you've solved the issue of clarifying what the problem is. So I'm telling you, if you can maybe state the problem in a half sentence, I'll let you state the problem. But in most cases, entrepreneurs go way too long on the problem. Just tell us what your solution is. So the second thing that every pitch coach says is tell a story. You know, storytelling is sort of this magical art that will improve your ability in making presentations. And that is fair. It is true. We know that people remember a story and people engage in a story much better than they can remember numbers that are randomly dispersed across a slide or numbers that are inserted into some long string of sentences. So it is true, the way you frame what you are saying affects the way we engage with it and remember it. But all too often, entrepreneurs take this idea of telling a story and they go back to sort of this Aristotelian model of storytelling that, I mean, if you go Google storytelling and pitching, what you'll get is you'll get a reconstruction of what Aristotle taught, 2,500 years ago, and what Pixar uses today in their movies. So if you've got 90 minutes, you can do these wonderful arcs of storytelling. But when you're pitching to an investor, you can't come into our office, put up your title slide, and say, hi, my name is Bill, and we've got an interesting company we want to talk about. But before we tell you about the company, let me tell you a story. When I was a kid, my grandfather had a farm, and I would go down to the farm in the summers, and on the farm there was a pond. And so in the afternoons, I would go down to the pond and look across the pond at the woods beyond. And while I was contemplating the woods, I would dream blah, 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 blah. I mean, it gets crazy what entrepreneurs will do when they've been taught to tell a story. Now, there is a time and a place and a value for you all to have your origin story or your vision story. It's really valuable to have a story, but you cannot tell a story when you are trying to engage an investor unless, again, I'll give you permission, if you can tell a story in one sentence, then that could be very powerful. So, but stay away from long involved origin stories when you're pitching. Now, the other thing that pitch coaches tell everyone is, those greedy VCs, all those greedy VCs, they want unicorns, right? So you've got to convince them that you're going to have a unicorn. And the only way you can have a unicorn is if you show a big market. So every freaking entrepreneur on the planet goes to Google and tries to find the biggest number they can possibly find that they can put into their pitch deck that defines something about their market. I cannot believe how many pitches I've heard, in the last few years, where we've had this market size inflation. Back in the old days, market size inflation meant that you said your market was a $56 billion market. That was market size inflation. Then it went up to 256 billion, and now it's 2.56 trillion. I can't believe how many pitches we hear where the market size slide starts with some $1 trillion number out there. It's all baloney. I will tell you that in the world today, there is almost no market that is too small to build a successful venture-backed company. It is, because the world is, used to be relatively flat, but because technology has infiltrated every corner of our lives, you could be going after pet tech or food tech or ag tech or ed tech or insure tech or fintech or whatever. You can go after all of these corners of the world with a novel technology or a novel business model and build a highly successful company. It really doesn't matter what Google says the market size is. What really matters is that you know exactly who the customers are that are going to want and value and benefit from your solution. You know who they are, you know how to get to them, you know how they buy, and you know how much it's going to cost you to convert them into customers. That's what we want to know as investors. We want to know that you understand your market opportunity. We don't want you to put a bubble on a slide that says you're going after a $3.5 trillion market. That is useless information. And every time a VC sees those bubble slides, their brain wants to explode. So stay away from the bubble slides with the big markets and instead focus on demonstrating that you understand where your customers are, who they are, how many there are, and how you're going to get to them. So I will tell you, and I defy any VC to come up with a counterexample. I have never seen a company fail because the market was too small. The reason companies fail is because they can't get enough of the customers to buy their product, not because there aren't customers, but because they don't understand who those customers are, and they blow all their money going after this sort of generic market without fine-tuning their go-to-market strategy to the precise customers that they're likely to get. So, and then last, we all, every VC, everybody, every pitch coach out there has the perfect template. Well, I assure you that the perfect template was not designed with your company in mind. And every company, because you have different challenges, you have different priorities, you have different milestones you have to hit, the standard template won't work for your company. So it's okay to look at templates, and we happen to have a template. We have the perfect template, by the way, on our website. But what we insist, if you read carefully, we say, look, do not follow this template religiously. Use it as a guide. Use it to help you understand the sorts of things VCs want to hear, but tell the story of your company in a sequence that makes the most sense for the specific challenges and specific questions that you're going to get. So what I'm saying is, if you follow the typical pitch coach wisdom, you will not get to wow. Instead, you've got to figure out another way to get there. So here's the key. Here's the key. In more sort of actionable and clear terms, you need to make sure that in any communication you have, but especially in the first 20 seconds of your pitch, you've got to be clear what it is you do. What is it that you're talking about? You can't go off talking about a whole bunch of different things and engage us if we don't know where you're going. So be clear what it is you do. Second, you've got to be compelling. You've got to demonstrate, or you've got to at least assert that you are significantly better than anyone else out there, and you are unique in what you are doing. And then thirdly, what you have to do is make sure we believe you. You've got to be credible. So be clear, be compelling, be credible, head, heart, gut, right? So, and I'll tell you, I have discovered over the years that these 3 C's, be clear, be compelling, be credible, these 3 C's apply to all of your communications. And so anytime you're going to do a sales pitch or marketing materials or any, a press release, make sure you are clear, you are compelling, and you are credible. That just makes sense as a filter for everything you write from now on or speak from now on, right? So when do you need to do this? And this is the point I just made. You need to do this all the time, in all different applications, whether you're talking to investors or pitching to customers. Now, when you pitch to customers, it'll be different than when you're pitching to investors. There's a different set of issues you have to deal with, but the same point applies. Be clear, be compelling, and be credible. You're schmoozing at events, you're posting updates, you're recruiting employees. How do you convince people that your company is worth working for? You're out looking for strategic partners, your emails, your website, your voicemails. All of your marketing materials have got to be clear, compelling, and credible. All of your marketing materials, every communication out there has got to have this frame of, will people say, wow, I'm going to keep reading, or wow, I'm going to keep listening in the first paragraph. So, so how do you get there? I'm going to give you a 3-step framework for getting to wow. Step 1, your first sentence. Step 1 is a description of what you do better than anyone. Now, a lot of pitch coaches out there will tell you that, you have 12 words, or you've got 8 words, or you've got to make it clear to your grandmother, or you've got to use, 4th grade language, whatever. I mean, there are all these different sort of silly approaches to a clear description of your company. Let's just make it simple, right? So what's the right way to describe what you're doing? The right way to do it is to use what I'll refer to as what I call simple TechCrunch language, which is, it's a tech business publication that pretty much everyone can read, right? So imagine you're a journalist covering your story. You're a journalist, you want to write a story. You're not, the founder who wants to write a puff piece, but you're a journalist who wants to write a story about your company. A journalist is not going to say, I came across this company that has this curve jumping, paradigm shifting, disruptive, transformative technology, blah, 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 right? A journalist will never say that. So why do you? Instead, you should come up with the sentence that you want every journalist to use when they describe your company. Why not? Why not have that sentence and hand it out to the blogging community and the journalistic community? Have a sentence that people would actually use. So what is that sentence that clearly describes what it is you do? So, Garage Technology Ventures is an seed stage and early stage venture capital firm based in Silicon Valley. I mean, it's not a wow, but it's clear what we're doing, right? Okay, so what is that one sentence? So now you're 8 seconds into your pitch. Second sentence, what is the compelling benefit that you offer to your target customers? To whom? What is your compelling benefit? A way to start this sentence, at least, is to start it with the big idea behind our company is. So what is the big idea? And the point of this sentence is most entrepreneurs, generally, they launch into a description of their product at this point. So, we have got an application that is based on the stack number 3 and 4 of the ISO 7 stack model that has this integrated AI technology that talks with Youre on Java and whatever. So don't start describing your product. Talk about the big idea, which is the compelling benefit to whom. So that's your second sentence. So now you're maybe 14, 15 seconds into your pitch. So what's going on now in the mind of the listener, whether it's an investor or a customer, what's going on now, this person, they're developing this app that does, predictive analytics for consumer purchases. What's going on in the head of the investor is, I've heard a bunch of these pitches before. I've heard so many pitches that, claim that they can increase the cart size by 3x. I'm not another pitch for increasing cart size. Well, what you have to do really early up front is you have to differentiate yourself from all of the others. So my head is thinking of all those other companies that I've heard of that have this app that does predictive analytics that increases your, conversion rate or cart size or whatever it is you're doing. And if you follow the typical template, the template says you don't have to talk about the competition until slide number 6. Well, if you don't talk about, the competition until slide number 6, I am sitting there just skeptical as heck through all the first 5 slides. So you've got to shut this down right at the beginning. And the way you shut it down is you say, now you may have heard of other companies that are doing something like what we're doing, or, this sounds a lot like X or like Y. But unlike the other companies that are doing something like this, what we are doing is this different thing that they are not doing, they can't do, that we are uniquely doing. And our proof is that last summer, Major League Baseball adopted our technology after looking at all of the other technologies for this application on their website or whatever it is, right? So I want right up front you to preempt the thinking in the investor's mind that they've heard this before, because I assure you, the investor has heard it before. I mean, in the last several years, there have been 1 or 2 ideas that I have heard that I had never heard before. And so as an entrepreneur, you think your idea is unique and amazing. And as soon as you mention it, then, people are going to fall over thinking, what an original, creative, amazing idea. But I assure you, almost every investor you pitch to will at least believe that they have heard it before. Now, it may be because of the way you're phrasing it or because of their baggage. but I assure you, every investor thinks they've heard it before. So you've got to differentiate yourself up front. So that's a simple 3-step model for getting to wow. Describe what you're doing, to describe your compelling benefit that you offer to whom, your target market, and explain how it is you're different and what proof you've got that you are a unique company. So now at this point, usually an entrepreneur, if I have a group of you in front of me and I can't see you, but at this point, usually an entrepreneur will raise their hand and say, wait a second, Bill, you said don't follow templates. And this looks like a template to me. And I will tell you, it's not a template, it is a guide. So it is a guide to help you frame out your wow. But there are many other ways to do it. There are alternative models for getting to wow. But having said that, I will assure you, you need each of these 3 sentences. You may not always string them together, but you are absolutely going to get the question, what do you do? And it's amazing to me how many entrepreneurs, when I turn to them and I say, well, what do you do? They go well, we have a technology, we have a product, we have a market. I mean, for whatever reason, it's astonishing to me how many entrepreneurs do not have a crisp, clear sentence right at the tip of their tongue that is what they do. That's a natural, human, memorable statement of what they do. So you need that sentence. You need that sentence. You need the sentence of, what's your value proposition? So your benefit is your value proposition to your customers. What is your compelling value proposition? You've got to have that sentence. And then how are you different? How are you unique? How do you compare to all the other companies that sound like they're doing what you're doing? You need that sentence. So you need these 3 sentences, but you might want to do it a different way. There are other ways to do this. So one of the ways to do it goes back to the point I made earlier. If you can tell a story in 1 sentence, then that might be a very effective way to get to wow. And that sentence might begin with imagine if, So imagine if you had an application that pulled together all of your messages, all of your emails from all of your different social media, from all your different email accounts and all your different CRM accounts into one unified message place, so you knew where everything was with a click of a button. So this happens to be a product I desperately, desperately, desperately want. So I use this as my imagine if. But if you, I don't know about the rest of you guys out there, but I've got 7 or 8 different messaging streams on my phone and on my laptop because I've got WhatsApp and WeChat, and I've got messages and Messenger, and I've got Viber, and I've got Line, and I've got Kakao Talk, and I've got my email. I've got 4 different emails. I got my Gmail. I got so I'm going nuts. Somebody sends me a message, and I unfortunately, today is a perfect example. I double booked this morning because I thought that this other group that had asked me to do a webinar at 8 a.m. was this group. And then I discovered that, oops, it's actually a different group. And so fortunately, we caught it before it was too late, I hope. But in any case, I made my commitment to you guys. So but so I'm getting off track here. The point is you might be able to explain what you do and what your compelling value proposition is and how you're different from everyone else in a sentence or 2 that begins with imagine if. And you paint this picture of a future that is enabled by your offering, by your product, by your technology, by your service, that is a future that looks beautiful, is obviously a better future, and that would be a great way to get to wow. If you can develop that imagine if scenario. So I recommend you work on that too. And then there are a whole bunch of other sort of reasonably standard tips and techniques for getting your point across if you have a complex technology that may or may not be obvious to your target audience. And So usually this is abused, the idea of using an analogy and using a comparable technology or comparable company to describe what it is you're doing. So, you know, I mean, over the years, people have said, well, we're going to be the Google of auto parts, or, you know, we're going to be the YouTube of education, or we're going to be the Netflix of, we're going to be the Netflix of ebooks. So there's all sorts of analogies out there. You know, most recently, pretty much every other entrepreneur has been either the Uber of something or the Airbnb of something, and that's okay. But sometimes an analogy will help your audience, the investor, understand a little bit better what your technology is or what your business model is. Now, a totally different way, this is a totally orthogonal approach to getting to wow, meaning, you know, throwing out all of those other, you know, sort of approaches. If you've got a really big name you can drop, then that might be the best way to get to wow. And you know, my favorite example of this was I was in New Zealand. I was judging an elevator pitch competition in New Zealand. And this woman gets up and she says, "Hi, my name is Claudia. We have developed a suite of special effects software for the entertainment industry. Last year, we won the Academy Award." Boom. And then she went on for another 3 minutes talking about her, you know, her software suite and all what it did and what movies she was in and all that sort of stuff. But at the end, I said, "Claudia, you had me at Academy Award." I mean, so the counterexample to that is a team. They come into our office, an hour-long meeting, and the template said that you put the team slide at the end. So 55 minutes into the pitch, the teams, you know, shows the team slide. They show the team slide, and it turns out that on the team slide, one of the co-founders is a Nobel laureate. And we go, "Whoa, you're kidding. Bill Sharp is one of the co-founders of this company?" Bill Sharp won a Nobel Prize in economics. And the team looks at us and says, "Yeah." We said, "Well, why didn't you tell us that before?" He said, "Well, we wanted to end with a bang." And I said, "Well, but if you had told us at the beginning, we would have listened." So, okay. The point is that if you've got a really big name that establishes your credibility, that gets you to wow up front, you know, you just closed a $25 million purchase order with Walmart, or, you know, you just signed a whatever, you know, agreement with Cisco. You know, if you've got something really, really big that, you know, immediately is a wow in terms of your credibility and, you know, sort of establishing that you've accomplished something, make sure we hear it really early on, right up front. So, so some other tips, and then we're going to go to the, how are we doing here? Oops. Okay. Some other tips, and then we're going to go to the pitches. Just quickly, keep it simple, keep it simple, keep it simple. You can't, you know, one of the problems that we all have is if you sort of sit down with a piece of paper and you write this out, or a word processor or whatever, and you write this out, the way we write language is different than the way we speak language. And so if you write it out and memorize it, it will sound awkward and stiff. But that's okay. You can write it out and then try speaking it, and then, you know, adapt it until it sounds natural. But it's got to be simple enough and clear enough that people can remember it. If it's too complex and you have a whole bunch of subordinate clauses and, you know, whatever, then, you know, I'm not going to remember it. And if I can't remember it, I can't go back to the office and tell my partners, "I met this amazing company." "Well, what did they do, Bill?" "God dang, I can't remember. What was it?" So, right. So it's got to be simple enough to remember. Second, please, please, please be customer focused. I mean, again, so many entrepreneurs, they launch into a description of their product rather than talking about the value proposition to customers. Ultimately, the thing that causes your company to be successful is the value proposition that customers realize. So classic phrase, I don't know who gets credit for saying it, but customers do not buy products, they buy benefits. What is the benefit you're delivering to whom? Not what is the product. So be customer focused, quantify your benefit, quantify your value proposition. You know, it's got to be 10 times better. It's got to be 1/10 the cost. It's got to be, you know, last 5 times longer. It's quantify it, because if it's a little better or lasts a little longer, not good enough. But only use 1 or 2 numbers. I mean, because I asked some entrepreneurs to quantify their benefit, and a couple of them came back with like 15 numbers embedded in the first 20 seconds, which is crazy, right? So 1 or 2 numbers that are your key metrics of merit. And then lastly, you know, don't lie. That sounds like it's obvious, but what we've discovered over the years is that entrepreneurs tend to exaggerate, right? They tend to exaggerate, and that kills your credibility if you exaggerate. So with that, if you want to learn the top 10 entrepreneur lies, it's on our website. I also have a website, a blog called The Top 10 Terrible, Horrible, Very Bad Slides. So it's sort of the inverse of a template. It's all of the bad habits that we've seen entrepreneurs do over the years. And then, so that's getting to wow. Greg Holson helped me with the slides. Thanks, Greg. And here is my contact information. So, you know, if I don't get to everyone, or, you know, you want to follow up, here's how you reach me. I can't guarantee immediate response to my email. I'm a little behind on my email. So you can abuse my Twitter account. Feel free to abuse my Twitter account, but email, it's going to be, you know, feel free if you've got a good question to reach out to me. And then there are a bunch of resources on our website, you know, along these lines. There's a version of Getting to Wow, our template, our elevator pitch. We've got all sorts of things for entrepreneurs on our website. So with that, Nellie, do I turn it back to you, or how do we proceed?
Bill, amazing. Thank you very much. I again forgot about time listening to your presentation. I should confess it is already second time I'm listening this, and the topic is the same, but the content is rather new. That's impressive. Thanks a lot. So now we will switch. We have a bunch of questions also from YouTube, from online stream, but I suggest that we first switch to the pitches of the entrepreneurs which are here in the Zoom room. And I will invite them one by one. I will also try to track with my phone the proper timing. Okay. And we will start. When I name the entrepreneur, please switch on your camera and microphone. So we start from Rama Rao, founder of BlockCube, the company, the startup from USA. Rama, are you here?
Yes, Nelly, I am. Thank you so much.
I don't see you, Rama.
You don't?
I see Rama. You don't see Rama? Okay. So should I unshare my screen, or what's the best thing for me to do?
The best thing will be if you unshare your screen, and we will also put your contact details in the webinar description in YouTube, so everyone can check it.
Okay, let's see.
No one will miss it, I promise. I'm sure that everyone already made photos, wrote
yes,
it in the contact.
Absolutely, Nelly.
Okay, so now where do I go? Stop. There we go. Okay, that should do it. Did that work?
Yeah, that works. Yeah, thanks, Nelly. I can get started. Fabulous presentation.
Seconds.
So basically, we at BlockCube are tackling the problem that the pandemic has exposed, where drugs are not coming to patients in time. We're basically in the business of accelerating clinical trials to save patient lives. And the way we do this is a bit like today, systems are more like driving a car, where you get the speed at which you're traveling and the gas you consume a week later. In our real-time based system, we do it simultaneously.
Okay, Rama, you see what happened? Okay, so Nelly, from now on, give him 40 seconds, okay?
That's okay. I need only one more sec. I need only 5 more seconds to complete.
Okay, well, one more sentence, Rama.
Yes.
One more sentence.
We did beta trials where we saved from 12 months to 12 days using our system in a diabetes study in India.
Okay.
And
so you know,
Thanks,
so the point, you know, the point was just made that the first, I don't know, whatever that was, 25 seconds was, you know, we're solving the problem of drugs not getting to patients in time. Basically, the problem is that it takes a long time for drugs to get to patients. It's like with a car that you go a certain speed, but you may or may not get there any faster. I don't even know what that was about. And then you ran out of time. And then you said, you know, we can accelerate the time to get drugs to patients from 12 months to 1 month. So, you know, start with that.
Got it.
Okay. You know, we can accelerate the time to get drugs to patients from 12 months to 1 month, as we've demonstrated in a trial of diabetes drugs in India.
Got it.
How do we do that? I don't, you know, right? But I mean, so, but you know, boom, that's a wow. Now, I will tell you that investors these days do not want to hear you start with, we're addressing the COVID problem. Because we are bombarded with entrepreneurs that are addressing the COVID problem, right? And, you know, some are working on drugs, some are working on masks, some are working on swabs, some, I mean, whatever, but we are bombarded with people talking about COVID. So if you say we accelerate drug development from 12 months to 1 month, boom. I mean, that's a wow. Now, I'm still going to be skeptical. You know, we proved it with diabetes. Okay, diabetes, that's different. Okay. All right.
Yep.
So Nelly, how much time do I have? Should I keep going? What do we do?
Oh, if you finished with Rama,
Yeah.
I can name another company, yes?
Yes, keep going, right?
Okay, amazing. So,
okay, thank you. Thank you, Rama. By the way, wild applause for Rama for being the first one up, okay? All right, but Rama, you get my point. Okay, and I, you know,
yes,
again,
I get it. Thanks.
The car analogy I didn't get at all. I'm not sure why. I was just like, why is he going there? But maybe that was just me. But okay.
Good feedback.
Okay. All right, who's up next?
The next one is Jesus Sanchez Bermejo, founder of Cryptoro from Spain, Madrid. Jesus, are you here? Jesus, you are muted, I guess.
Okay, now it's okay. All right. Hello.
All right.
20 seconds, 30 maximum.
Okay, we are a fintech, DeFi, multi-service and multi-product company, global and worldwide, with own marketplace. So we are your company. How many seconds?
Wow.
Okay, Jesus, is that who it is? I mean, what's your name?
Jesus. Yes.
It is Jesus. Okay, all right, Jesus. Boy, I you know, all I heard was some random scattering of words. I heard fintech, DeFi, worldwide, your marketplace.
Multi-service and multi-product company.
Multi-protocol, is that what you said? Well, I mean, okay. So, okay, what is your compelling value proposition? So being a marketplace is not, multi-protocol is not a value proposition.
Means you can buy many things, but not as usual. For example,
buy many things, not what?
Sorry. Okay, explain again. We have different company. You know, this company, there is not like this in worldwide, to be honest. So we are doing a company with, how to explain in English, because my language is Spanish, so English sometimes is not very good for me.
I know that's a challenge,
but
it is a reality, right?
At least if you need anything, you can buy it in Cryptoro, but not like Amazon, because Amazon is products, and we get
digital
and
goods,
services, you know. So it's different. For example, if you need a web page, you can come to Cryptoro. If you need a book, too. If you need a multi-exchange for cryptos, we have a multi-exchange with your cryptos. So if you need for, you know, we have so many things into.
All right. So you're a global marketplace for digital products and services with a cryptocurrency transaction mechanism.
Sure. And also you can pay to us with any fiat money or any crypto money.
Okay. So you're not floating your own coin and doing your own crypto or anything like that. You're just saying we accept all sorts of currencies.
Sure. That's right.
Fiat or crypto.
That's right. Okay.
Okay. And so that is, so, all right. So now I'm guessing most everybody else listening in did not know what you were doing specifically after, you know, when you were talking. I think now everybody knows what you're doing. So it's, you know, it should be pretty easy for you to get this across in English.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that we are, if I understand correctly,
yeah,
you know, we are, because your name, using the name Cryptoro, you know, immediately makes us assume this is a cryptocurrency play.
And gold, because oro in Spanish is gold. We can sell gold too, because we have many products into our company.
Okay.
That means Cryptoro is crypt and gold in Spanish.
Okay, I understood. Okay. So now can I buy?
You asked for a big name. This is a big name.
You know? Okay. Yeah. So again, it's okay. So if I think of crypto and gold, you know, what I'm assuming is you let me invest in gold using your token, right? I mean, so that's the first thing that I'm going to assume based upon the name of the company. Now, you're not actually going to deliver gold to me, right? You're just going to enable me to invest in gold. Is that true or not?
We can give you gold to you. You can buy gold through crypto.
You're going to, because for some, I had the impression that it was digital products and services, but because you said we're not like
You're
Amazon,
right, because
Amazon
we
products.
also have digital services for you.
Okay,
Because
but can I buy soap from you?
If you like.
Not now,
but in the future we'll do it.
Okay.
You know. So the thing is,
so you are like Amazon.
Amazon is only for products, and is for product and services. So it's a different company.
Okay, so I misunderstood that as well. So you see how easy it is to misunderstand what you're doing. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's what you're doing is actually extremely simple.
Yeah.
But for some reason, by saying we're fintech and DeFi and, you know, world and whatever and crypto and gold, you know, you throw all those things out there and we're lost, right? We're lost. So keep it simple.
But I tell you,
yes.
Usually, a typical company from now on is selling one product, you know, and because I've been working 12 years in a broker company in Germany, you know, I think the main reason that many startup is not going to be good, you know, for the in the future is for they have only one product. This product can be good or not.
Okay.
What about if I
okay.
have 200 products for 200 different kinds of customers?
Yeah, but that's just a marketplace, right? So
Yes.
every marketplace has multiple products. That's the definition of a marketplace, right?
That's
So I mean, you're not gonna get me to say, wow, really? You're selling more than one product? I've never heard that idea before.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So don't try to make that case. Okay. So I mean, so you've got to, so we are a worldwide marketplace that enables, that takes payment in any currency, including cryptocurrencies. Now, how do you deliver gold from Spain to California?
We can do it.
I'm sure you can.
We can do it through
But
brings, means. We can do it.
Yeah, is it the, do you have an advantage over a, over a service that focuses on, enabling people to invest in gold or acquire gold coins or acquire gold bullion or whatever, right? So, or buy gold stocks, right? So, why are you better than anyone else? So what is the one sentence that is, why are you better than anyone else?
Because we are a different kind of hub. For example, we have also one online school with 4 institutes that no one school online there is in this moment in all over the world. We are doing.
But I don't. I mean, I want gold. I don't want to go to school. I don't know. I mean, so how can you say you're better than everyone else because you have a school?
Okay, you can buy physical gold from phone right now, and we can deliver in 24 hours at your house, or we can keep in banks for you. So we can do both. You don't need to take the physical gold to your house. You don't need it. You need to have gold. If it is in your house or not, doesn't matter. The thing is, you got it. You know?
Okay. But so do you hear my feedback in terms of, I need you to, one, be clear what you're doing, and then two, offer me some reason why you are better than anyone else at what you're doing. Okay.
All right, because you can be client.
So not now, okay? But but that's your homework. Okay?
Okay, we'll be in contact.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Jesus. All right.
Guys, just to understand what is happening is that actually Bill is not only so kind to give the feedback, but also he tries to coach you and to help understand how to pack your value proposition in the best possible way. That's, I think, an amazing example and great value which you could extract out of it if you do your best to listen really attentively and keep it in mind. So the next startup I want to invite, sorry if I pronounce it not very properly, Shubhama Gupta, founder of Youre AI from India.
Youre.
Okay, guys.
Jesus, please mute yourself. Shubham, unmute you. Yeah.
I think I heard you. Okay. And thank you, Nelly, for letting me take a bite of my bagel. So
you're welcome. Bon app.
Okay.
Should we begin?
Yes, go for it.
Imagine if the digital billboards were smarter, played ads relevant to the audience watching it. That's how we boost marketing campaigns for the companies. The big idea is to deeply understand the audience and offer this understanding or analytics to the back to the advertisers. Unlike competitors who just convey about audience age and gender, we also give crucial insights like audience emotions involved when they view the ad. That's all.
Okay. So unfortunately, because of the audio, I couldn't understand your first sentence. You said something about imagine if something was something.
Okay.
And then, so I couldn't, so now I'm, nothing you say makes sense after that. So can you
just repeat
a little bit more clear? Imagine if what is what?
Imagine if digital billboards were smarter.
Digital billboards. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Playing ads relevant to the audience watching it.
Okay. So this is Minority Report, right?
Yeah, you can say.
What I mean, it's totally Minority Report, isn't it? Is it anything different than Minority Report? Right? I mean, so I walk up to a billboard and the billboard knows that I'm a guy, right? And it says, and they may even know that I'm Bill. And so it gives me a personalized ad. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. But the offering is towards the advertiser. We give them the analytics based on understanding of the audience.
So is it going to be double click for billboards? I mean, it will show me an ad that's personalized, right? And then it will also show the advertiser, here's who saw each ad, on this day, right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah, so they'll be able to understand their audience better. And if they understand the audience better, they'll be able to market it better and finally sell it better. Yes.
Yeah. So this is a question that has haunted, investors and advertisers for 20 years now, which is how come we don't have Minority Report yet in terms of, personalized billboards? Why don't we? And so you've got a unique challenge, right? Because your idea is something everybody's been talking about for 20 years. But nobody's really been able to deliver it. So we invested in a company. Are you ready for this? We invested in the company in 1999 with this idea. So it was in a store window. It had a camera, and the idea was if you came up to the store window, it would be able to tell, it could dynamically play something that was relevant to you. But and then it also had gesture control and things like that. So you could actually interact with the billboard, which I assume you let me do. I don't know if you let me interact with your billboards or not. But it just, so the challenge you guys have is that you've got to explain, and I will admit it would be a little unfair in 20 seconds, but right up front, you've got to be able to say something like, we have turned the interactive billboards in Minority Report into reality. The reason nobody has been able to do this until today is something. So there's what I don't know. I don't know why we don't have that billboard yet. And I mean, I have a bunch of thoughts, but you've got to very quickly say, the world of advertising has been looking for interactive billboards for decades. We are the first who can actually deliver it, at a reasonable price with better metrics than anybody else can deliver, or whatever it is, right? So why is it that you guys can do it and nobody else has been able to do it forever? So what's the short answer to that question?
Okay, it's because at the time in 90s, deep learning was not introduced. It came after 2015 to the general public. And
I mean, you could at least recognize, there was AI that could categorize people, in the 90s. Now, I mean, facial recognition did not happen until more recently. But yeah, we invested in a company in 2012 that could say man, woman, child, dog, for retail analytics, right? So it's, in 2000, it was a little bit more, rudimentary. But it's not, you can't convince me that you guys are the first to come across this idea of using deep learning to recognize the people walking up to a kiosk, right?
So I would add that basically have this model which uses the emotions, which gets to the in-depth emotions, not the ones like very happy or very sad. It would be different emotions of the people who are standing in front of the screen. And moreover, it has this visual linguistic model, which I would say, which basically connects different elements that are present in the view field and make a textual description out of it. So I have the writer of visual linguistic right beside me, Ravin. He has himself written the paper.
The paper is published in spring this year.
Okay. I mean, it's, you know, I mean, if you guys can pull this off, I mean, but you're not the first ones to try to pull it off. So we are also, I should tell you, you know, we're investors in Affectiva, if you know Affectiva. So Affectiva was one of the very early ones who were able to do emotion recognition across, I think they have 7 emotions that they can do now. But, and there's another company out there called Soul Machines, which is doing something similar. They can understand your emotional condition both visually and from your speech. So, so you've got, I mean, you're going to get a lot of skepticism from a lot of investors because so many people have, you know, so many people have been trying to do this for so many years. So really, unfortunately, I think one of your challenges is going to be that it's going to be hard to convince people that you are unique and better until you actually deliver a solution.
So I would just like to add, we have already successfully completed our prototype.
Please not me give the answer right now. Because others are waiting also for
All right. Okay. Thank you, Nelly. Thank you for, you know, disciplining me. Okay, keep going.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. You know, good luck.
Thanks a lot.
All right, who's next?
So the next one is a startup from Israel and Ionoterra, and its founder, Doron Angelovich.
Okay.
Hi there, nice to meet you, and thanks for having me. I will start with a 20-second pitch. Ionoterra predict earthquakes 8 hours in advance, while today earliest prediction is something like 7 minutes. My vision of Ionoterra is of a global earthquake prediction company providing services to countries and organizations. We proved our ability running a POC last September with over 90% accuracy. This is it, Ionoterra.
Okay. All right. All right. Good. Good job. All right.
Thanks.
So, you know, so thank you. Ionoterra. So here's what I heard, you know, Ionoterra can predict earthquakes 7 hours in advance, or 8 hours, whatever you said, 6 hours, no, whatever. So
8 hours.
8 hours in advance. Currently the state of the art is 7 minutes.
Yes.
And, you know, our vision is a worldwide earthquake prediction system, and we've demonstrated 90% accuracy. So, you know, that is compelling. You know, the challenge is, what we've learned is that 90% is really not very good. You know, because what it means is that there are a lot of false positives and or false negatives. And so what I don't know is how to assess whether or not 90% is good enough to get governments to be willing to invest in this.
I have the answer.
Okay.
We reached only 90%, to be more precise, 90.66%, only because we are having the best results above 4.5 Richter scale. Now, since we cannot choose what earthquake is about to happen, we had to deal with, during the POC, also with 2.6, 2.8, 3. So basically, the lower the Richter scale, the less accuracy we get. But above 4.5, we know to reach approximately 98%. When we take the 4.5 and above, and we analyze them in an isolated mode.
All right. So I don't think it would be lying, you know, for you to say, and we have a 90% accuracy in predicting significant earthquakes.
Way above 90.
I mean, no, if you said 98% accuracy in predicting significant earthquakes.
Yes. We can predict
if that's what I heard you just say.
Yes.
On the assumption that for the most part, under 4.5 is not that significant. But I'm not sure who draws that line. But I mean, I've been through plenty of 4.5 earthquakes, and no big deal. And I don't think there's ever been a tsunami created by a 4.5 earthquake. I don't know, but
you're right.
So yeah, I mean, so I think you can use 98% as your metric of merit, at least for now. And then, you know, so I think that's a wow. And then of course the investors are all going to say, you know, they're going to be, you know, I'm still not quite believing you, you know, because I have heard several pitches for earthquake predictors that are talking about, you know, minutes, right? And the difference between minutes and nothing, right, is, you know, in terms of shutting down big refineries and plants and blah, 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 right?
Yes.
But so there's a huge, you know, there's a perceived huge value in high accuracy to the minutes level. And then all of a sudden you go to hours, and, you know, and these guys, you know, all the pitches I've heard before, you know, are on, you know, your ability to sense what's going on 15 miles down below the ground, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's really, 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 really tough, right? So you're gonna, I mean, again, you're not gonna do it now, but, you know, somehow you're gonna bring to the fore some third-party experts who say, you know, what Iona Terra has been able to do that nobody has been able to do before in the history of the planet is this, this, and this, which has enabled them to give us hours of head start, hours of notice rather than minutes, right?
Because of a major difference between what we're doing and what the rest of the world is doing. We are looking to the ionosphere. We are not looking to the ground with all kinds of sensors. We are looking to the ionospheres. And we are watching the ionosphere, looking for a certain pattern and tendency of plasma gas, which is released 24 hours already before the earthquakes. So it gives us a lot of time.
Interesting. Okay. All right.
And you can continue further, I guess.
Okay. Yep.
Your 20 seconds.
Okay. Who's up? Who's up next?
Not needed.
Thank you, Doran.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. So the next one is Diego Scayano, co-founder of NU from Argentina. Hi, Diego.
Hi, everyone. You tell me, Nelly.
You start.
Okay, we are creating a platform where we gather all the services and products that the vehicle needs, so people can hire them in a simple way, and insurance companies can reduce cost, and third-party companies can achieve a better efficiency, all in one platform. That's what.
Okay. Okay, what I heard is we're developing a product that can gather together all of the things that a vehicle needs. And then you went off into insurance, and that somehow makes things cheaper or better or something. So that was, you know, the sentence, we are developing a platform that gathers together all the things that a vehicle needs is still not clear enough. Okay. So, I mean, I think about my vehicle, and I mean, I have needs, but does my vehicle have needs? My vehicle doesn't have needs. I suppose it has needs. I don't know. But I have needs as the vehicle owner.
Yes.
And what are my needs? I don't, you know, I mean, I need electricity. I don't know. Yes, and I suppose I need insurance, but it's not a big problem. I don't, you know, why is this a big problem that hasn't already been solved? What do you do that no one else does?
Okay, from the point of view of the client, or for. And
yeah, well, so who's the client? I assume I'm a client.
Okay,
or are you talking about fleet owners, or are you talking about, you know, OEMs, or are you talking about, right?
Exactly. Every person with a car, it's a potential client, because
You're talking about owners.
Exactly. Car owners, vehicle owners, etc.
Okay. All right.
What we do is we gave the ability to every people to have the freedom to choose the policy that they want with the services that they need. For example, maybe you need a policy with I don't know, windshield replacement, car towing, etc. You can choose all the services that your policy needs, and after that you can hire those services, for example towing, all directly by our app.
Okay.
I don't know if I explained myself.
Well, right. Okay. So the challenge you've got is, well, first of all, for everyone, you know, listen to what Diego did. So what Diego did is he described a product, right? We have a platform that brings together all the things that a vehicle needs. So he described a product. He did not tell me who the customer was. He implied that the customer was the vehicle, but you know, the customer is not the vehicle, right? Okay. So make sure you're clear. Who is the customer in this? Perfect. And so now it sounds like what you're saying is the customer is the individual. You're not going after fleets, and you're obviously not going after OEMs, right? So, so you're going after, you know, individuals who own cars. And now the challenge is that I don't have a problem finding the insurance that I want, or getting the towing that I need, or finding the electricity that I need. I don't have, you're not describing something that I see as a compelling value, because I can already get whatever insurance policy I want. Right?
Yes.
I can already get towing service if I want towing service. So, you know, nothing you've said is compelling.
Okay. I see what you say. I understand.
So if you can, okay.
No, you can.
I don't know. Maybe if for some reason you can save me half of the price of my current insurance, then I'd be interested.
For example, the ability that you have to choose the services of your policy will make your policy more cheaper, because you are selecting the services that you want and the potential services you will use. For example, if I give you the ability to pay for the miles you drive your car, you are going to pay a less policy at the end of the month. Okay.
Right, but you're not the only one offering that, right? I mean, so again, there are other people who are offering pay by the mile, and there are other people who are offering, you know, cafeteria services. And so that feels very insurance focused, and maybe that's where you're starting, is on insurance.
Yes.
But it is. Okay. So so just cut to the chase. If what you're saying is if your success is dependent upon the insurance business, then you're in the then focus on insurance. Don't say everything a vehicle needs.
Perfect.
Because that's just I can't think of what my vehicle needs, right? Perfect. I mean, washer fluid, you know, who cares, right? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Perfect.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. And thank you, Diego. Yeah, keep in mind.
Uh-oh. All right.
So the next one is Mohammed, founder of Hire My Farmer from India, Hyderabad. Moin?
Yes, thank you, Nelly, for introducing me. Hi, Bill. Hi, everyone.
Okay.
Welcome. Start.
Can I start?
Yep.
Yes. We as a Hire My Farmer company, like we are facilitating farmers post-harvest infrastructure to the customers, along with logistics. Why we are doing this is like we are giving our customers for a competitive price for the stock which they buy directly from the farmers. That's it.
Okay. So again, I didn't, I couldn't quite hear your first sentence. excuse me. So, and I didn't quite hear the name of the, and I don't know if you mentioned the name of the company. It happens that the logo behind you obscures. I don't know if the name of the company is there or not.
It is Hire My Farmer, so probably I have to expand my screen.
Right, but I can't see. I see an H and I see an ERS on that side, but that's all I see. So Hire by Farmers. That's the business. That's the name of the business, right? Okay.
Yes.
So Hire by Farmers. And so your whole idea is to give, I assume, small farmers better prices by aggregating their harvest and giving them some sort of, better market price than they would get if they had to try to sell it themselves, to end buyers or however it works, right? Is that the big idea?
Yes, exactly. But we are maintaining a transparency to our customers, Bill. That is where our uniqueness is. So the transparency is something like the invoice for the customers, like what we do. We are facilitating our customers with post-harvest infrastructure facilities like processing units along with the farmer service. So this is where customers are buying stock for very competitive price rather than going to a trader or a wholesaler.
Okay, so transparency, post-harvest processing, which can be a whole, it depends on the crop. I think you need somewhere in there some metric that says how much. I mean, I think what you're saying is, I don't know if you're saving them money in the post-harvest process side, or if you're generating better revenues, giving them a better price on the purchase and distribution side. So I'm still not quite clear where your value proposition is.
It is a skin in the game, like where we are balancing both the customer's end and as well as the farmer's end, because the customers doesn't have a direct access to the infrastructure or farmers, and whereas the farmers doesn't have a linkage to marketplaces. So and the main thing is that production is not planned for the agriculture ecosystem. So where we are understanding the point of sale of customers, and we are facilitating the farmers based on that.
Okay, so give me a metric. Do you, what do the farmers love about you? What do farmers love about you? Is it the price at which you buy their product, or is it the price of the services, the post-harvesting services, other than? Am I understanding this right? That
yes.
Okay, so what do customers love about you? Give me sort of your best case study.
Yes, the farmers, what they love about us is like we are facilitating the post-harvest processing units, which they are very happy because they are not supposed to pay for that.
I mean, is that grinding the grain into flour, or what is the?
Exactly, it is a processing units. It's a processing units, so where the farmers doesn't have access to, and farmers are not supposed to pay for that, and whereas that bill is being routed to our customers within the invoice.
Okay. So now you're getting too granular on me. I mean, so what does that mean? What does it mean for the farmer? So in terms of economics, so just tell me, figure out a metric that says, so thanks to us, the farmers who are our customers earn twice the net income that they currently earn, or 5 times the net income that they currently earn, right? So there's an economic number in there that is compelling, I hope. Otherwise, you won't have a business, right? So what is the economic number in there that is compelling? And probably, again, in America, it's going to be farmer profit. That's the way, and it's got to be the same in India. I got to believe, right? So do they get twice the net income, or 5 times the net income, or 10 times the net income?
No, no, it is like just like a realistic thing, like where we are giving higher prices more than the MSP value, which is minimum support price for the farmers end. It is more than that. We are giving it for the farmers.
Okay, but you know, in a typical business, right? I may have, you know, and particularly in farming, my grandfather was a farmer. So, I mean, and, you know, and he complained for years about how horrible farming is, right? As a business. Because his margins are so slim at the end of the day, you know, his net profit was like so slim. And so, you know, just a little bit of difference could double or triple his net profit, you know? And if you can double or triple my net profit as a farmer, you know, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, but figure out what that metric is. Maybe
we are giving 20% more than profit for the farmers. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. God, I had to beat it out of you, huh? All right.
My God.
Okay.
Okay. Bill actually,
thank you,
you just now rebuilt for you the presentation. You should be so much grateful.
Right.
For the next investor, you can go and say this was actually designed by Bill Reichert.
What? Okay.
No, it was joke. Disclaimer.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
Next one.
I see. All right.
Director at ComX Singapore.
Oh, wow. Singapore. Wow. What time is it in Singapore? Where am I? I mean, it's midnight.
It's quite early in the morning. Hi, Bill.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, team. Hi, Bill. ComX are a blockchain-based exchange and the future of digital asset trading. Imagine if you have an exchange where you can tokenize any physical asset in the world to trade. Institutional and retail traders can trade art or $1 million worth of the commodities trade that goes through Singapore. And we've got some of the best blockchain people in the world. We've got a Forbes 30 under 30 on our team. The big idea behind us is you can trade fractional assets. So you could own a quarter of a Picasso, making expensive art purchases or other commodities cheaper. Enabling everyday investors to invest in a wider variety of assets.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So is it ComX? What's the name of the company? ComX?
Yeah. So it's basically a commodities exchange. So ComX.
Okay. That's okay. Which was right. I mean, so which, you know, again, but you're not doing a commodities exchange. So I was, okay. So it's a digital asset exchange that enables people to invest in, is it purchase or invest in? Purchase or invest in a variety of digital assets?
Yes. Basically, they can invest or trade real world assets such as iron ore or grains, or it could be just everyday items like
a fraction of a Van Gogh. Yes, that's not an everyday item, but all right. So again, like Diego earlier, you know, we've heard lots and lots and lots of pitches for digital asset exchanges based on the blockchain and, you know, some, you know, crypto trading currency or whatever. I don't, you know, so you've got to be clear or faster how you're different than all the other digital asset exchanges out there. And you cannot convince an investor that you're better and, you know, you're more likely to win just because you have a blockchain expert on your team. So, okay.
Could I say this as well? So basically,
yes.
So it's not just the technical side, as you said, we've got to focus on our customers. So we're lucky that we have friends and experts with domain knowledge and expertise in the mining industry. As you probably know, half our team's from Australia, and we have VC links as well with tight connections to miners. who wish to trade on our exchange already. So like compared to other exchanges, we've actually built a consortium of miners who wish to trade the commodity on our exchange, and also the traders who typically trade iron ore on regular exchange. So we have like a decent amount of volume ready to go. So that's where I'd say up.
All right. Well, okay. So now, you know, this is, you know, the other thing that was confusing is at one point you were talking about fractional Van Goghs, and then at another point you're talking about mining and iron ore. I think you know, the challenge is investors are not going to believe that you can make a market in all those different things. And to be successful in making markets, you know, you've got to put a lot of effort into acquiring, you know, buyers and sellers. And then on top of that, you know, the question of whether you do any sort of derivatives is because everybody's going to, you know, I'm assuming anybody who's playing in the iron ore market also needs, you know, to be able to hedge. And I don't know if you're going to offer derivatives or not, but that then gets to a whole nother level of complexity. And then on top of that, then you've got a regulatory issue. Is where are you domiciled, and do you have approval from, you know, whether it's MAS, I don't know who approves you in Singapore, but
yeah, it's MAS, yeah.
So I mean, it's hard to, you know, talk about iron ore and Van Gogh in the same pitch and be credible, but it sounds as though your focus really is on iron ore, and
yes,
and
I mean
similar commodities.
Right? Like the thing is, we've got the know-how to do both, but I guess as you're saying, like just focus on one pretty much.
Right. It's not about technical know-how. It's about, you know, building a market, right? And you can edge beyond iron ore into other minerals. Certainly, I can imagine that. But you can't do Van Gogh on the one hand and iron ore on the other. It's just not credible. Maybe you can, but I don't see how you scale that. Right?
What would you choose? What's more compelling as an investor, to hear like art or like iron ore?
You know, I mean, no, I mean, Australia's got to stop shipping raw material out of Australia to China and start, you know, making things itself, you know? I mean,
exactly. Yeah.
I mean, but that's a different geopolitical thing.
What if we said
and Nelly is anxious. I would pick, you know, I mean, it's hard to believe that you can win the global iron ore market, but I don't know enough about it to know if you have an inside track on winning the global iron ore market. But and maybe it just the, you know, Australia-China channel is good enough. If you could be a dominant player in that channel, maybe that's an interesting business, and then you get bought by Chicago Board of Trade, or I don't know. I mean, if or New York, I don't know who does it. Who does iron? I don't know who does iron ore in the U.S. But okay. But Nelly is telling me we've got to move on. But very interesting, very interesting. Good luck to you.
Chris, thank you, Bill, for the feedback.
Yes. Okay.
I love when you say interesting. You know how excited founders get when they hear from you. You are interested.
Well, there's a difference between interesting and interested. Okay.
Okay.
So, okay. All right.
The next one, Antonia Illustra, co-founder of SDX Network from Spain, but the company is from UK, I guess.
Yeah, hi Nelly. First and foremost, I'd really like to thank you for the invitation. The organization was amazing. Bill, I cannot begin to explain how insightful it was to listen to you from your experience, because I'm sure it'll be very helpful in our journey to success. So thank you very much. Okay, so SDX is a platform that allows data buyers to access data sellers' data on-premise and immediately. Combining secure multi-party computation and federated learning, SDX unlocks a universe of data, All current data analysis solutions will require data to move SDX is not, eliminating legal and ownership concern. We are currently applying our technology in real business cases in healthcare and retail.
Okay. Antonio?
Yeah.
Okay. So now, and for everyone, you know, and I know, and I appreciate the unusual situation here, but you cannot read your wow. So, I mean, it was pretty clear you were reading something you had written. And I'm betting that, you know, 98% of the people listening can tell the difference, could tell that you were reading and not speaking. So, I mean, and that seems like it's a minor point, and certainly in the real world, you would not be reading, you know, but it also applies to memorizing. And so you've got to be careful that what you speak, you are speaking in the way that a human speaks and converses with another human. And humans don't converse by back and forth, right? We converse by short sentences, fragmented sentences. We're checking out the reaction of the people on the other side. We're not just reading something, right? So it's one of the oddities of Zoom is it's really hard to read the audience when you're talking. So that was just that's just a generic thing. So specifically in terms of SD, pardon?
You caught me, very well read.
Okay. In terms of SDX, okay. So the business is, you know, again, you described a product. You described a product. You know, now you thought you were talking about customers because you were talking about data buyers and sellers. And you said something about how, you know, you can you can buy data on-prem or not. And
at the end of the day, sorry to cut you, the biggest problem is that most of the times when there's a data transaction, the data needs to move from the data company or structure to a cloud or elsewhere, and that causes a lot of concern. So we are basically focusing on the on-premise, send an algorithm into the premise of the data seller, and then basically you are avoiding all the issues that usually happen of data ownership and so on.
Okay, so what you're doing is, so you are a, you know, I don't know. So for example, telecom.
I'm going to give you an example.
Okay.
A hospital
Yes.
Wants to sell their data.
Right.
What happens? This data is sensitive. This example comes from a real use business case.
Right.
So the problem is that the data buyer, which is a pharma company, wants to buy the data.
Right.
The only problem is that this sensitive data is not easy to get access to. So even if the hospital wants to sell it, they need to go through several layers of legislation, of judicial and legal to get approval.
Right.
And that can take up to 7 months.
Understood.
And the problem is because the data is moved. However, if the data algorithm is sent to the data on-premise and the data is not revealed, you basically forget there's no 7 months regulation waiting and there's no problem. So basically you're creating that bridge to access data immediately.
Okay. I think I get it, right? So if I do the analytics, if I do the analytics at the site of the raw data, then I avoid all of the GDPR, privacy, whatever problems, because the resulting data from the analytics is not subject to the same privacy concern that the raw data is, right? That's your point.
That's one of the business
cases.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So data is the new oil, but privacy legislation and other geopolitical concerns have limited the movement of data beyond certain lines. We solve that problem by giving data buyers access to the raw data at the source, enabling them to export the results rather than the raw data, thereby being in compliance with privacy regulations and other laws.
Exactly. And also giving the security of the data seller that they do not lose ownership of their asset besides of the loss.
Right. Okay. So now that translates into a metric. So that means that the pharmaceutical company, your real case, so presumably as a result, our pharmaceutical company saved, approximately, 80% of the cost and even more time of the time by taking our approach, or whatever the number is. There's some metric in there.
Well, that's one of them, but the thing is, is being the master key and getting access to only 1% of market data is available for analysis.
Okay.
And 95% of decisions in 2030 will be data driven. So just so you have an idea of the dimensions of the connectivity of getting access to data or sensitive data.
Yeah. But I've heard this metric. It's 1% is a huge percentage compared to what I've heard from others, right? In terms of the accessibility of data. So the argument is that tiny fraction of data that is generated is actually available for analytics. So what you're saying is not only do we save time and money, but we open up, vast treasure troves of data for analytics that previously were simply not available.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what you're saying? Okay.
Through these advanced techniques, which are in a very early stage, but you got it pin spot on.
Okay. So again, what I'm trying to convey here is the importance of early on making it clear what the value making it clear what you're doing. So in your case, it wasn't crystal clear when you were talking about data buyers and data sellers on premise. And so you might need more than 20 seconds. You might. I hate giving you permission, because then you're gonna, take permission. And now everybody else who's listening in and saying, well, I'm like him, right? I need 2 minutes. I can't do 20 seconds, right? So I don't want anybody to take that the wrong way, but you've got to make it clear what business you're in. We're in the business of data analytics. And, so we're in the business of data analytics specifically, and maybe it's pharmaceutical, but you're saying retail as well. But mainly in the business of the people who need the analytics, acquiring the raw data from all of these other companies that have the raw data, without violating privacy concerns and other, data ownership concerns.
Not only that, but without having to buy the whole data set and only getting the piece of data that they need from that specific data set.
Okay. You got lots of benefits. I get it. But you didn't share any of them with me in the first 20 seconds, right? That's what I want to say. That's what I want to say. Okay.
No, but I really appreciate it, Bill.
So okay. All right, guys. All right. Good. All right.
Thank you very much, Bill.
Very much, Antonio. All right. Okay. So, I'm going to have to go. I'm going to have to go pretty soon. So can we do one more?
No, please, 3 more. But we will be.
Jesus. Wow.
That's yeah.
Generally the host says, oh, thank you, Bill. Sure, that's fine. But no, Nelly says, no, you can't go. I'm sorry. 3 more. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Nelly. Wow. Okay. All right. Okay. We can do 3 more quickly.
Amazing.
All right.
Belle Manson, co-founder and CEO of Seek and Check France.
Seek and Check. Thank you very much. So Ben here. Seek and Check is a marketplace that connects academics to vetted, specialized freelance translators. It makes it easy to find the perfect expert for any work just by uploading a file. Actually, see it as a search engine that you can query with a document asking who has the relevant experience or expertise for this specific work, and how much will that cost? And you get an instant answer to that for possibly 35 languages and 50 fields of expertise.
Time.
Okay. All right. So basically, you're Upwork for experts. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, academics, and yeah.
Okay, so you know, the challenge in this business is, you know, if I want to go find an expert in a topic, you know, I want to go find the expert in the topic, and yeah, what I've, you know, so the you know, over the years, what I've discovered is that, you know, the top 2%, they don't sign up for things like this, right? I mean, I'm a Nobel laureate. Are you kidding me? I'm going to sign up for Upwork, right? I mean, so unless you become, you know, and even if you look at LinkedIn, right? You look at LinkedIn, and LinkedIn, you know, presumably sort of everybody in the professional world should be on LinkedIn, but, you know, the top, whatever, there are bunches of people you're not going to be able to find on LinkedIn. I'm guessing, I don't know. I'm guessing Elon Musk is not on LinkedIn. I'm guessing Larry Ellison is not on LinkedIn, right? I don't know. I haven't tried, but so, you know, it's hard to imagine that people would take advantage of this for anything other than, you know, sort of higher level Upwork, right?
Yeah.
So I need, okay, you know, yeah, a postgrad who's doing transportation studies in Manchester. Yeah, maybe they've written something, you know, maybe they're smart enough to help me out, you know, in Singapore, possibly, I don't know. But it just doesn't, it doesn't sing to me.
Yeah, actually, just a slight precision.
Okay.
We are Upwork for translation. We have specialized translators who are knowledgeable in scientific fields, for example, or legal fields.
Aha! So it's just for translation. It's just for translation.
Language translation and proofreading.
Okay. Well, I totally missed that, huh? Okay, I totally missed that. Okay.
Sorry
so there are So there are bunches, you know, there are bunches and bunches of translation services. Your point is that for certain, you know, for certain disciplines, a generic translator is not good enough.
Yeah.
You need
definitely.
a domain expert in translation.
Mm-hmm.
And so, okay. So then what I want to know is that you've already built a cadre of translation experts across X, Y, and Z domains.
Yeah, 50
Then we're
fields
going to
of
go.
so far.
You have. Okay. And so I assume this is the kind of business that you can launch over a weekend.
Yeah.
And right. And so I assume you have data from the market, right?
Yeah.
You have experience, right? And
yeah.
So I would expect, you know, on the credibility front, remember clear, compelling, and credible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you have traction, if you have data from being in the marketplace, you know, credibility is important. And so you should be asserting your level of credibility in terms of your level of traction very early on. So aside from the fact that I missed the clear, you know, compelling. So how do you measure the value proposition of this? You know, partly it's cost and partly it's accuracy. And accuracy eventually reverts to cost in time. But I need a metric in here somewhere, because there are plenty of translation services that I can use. And so what you need to be able to say is, compared to a standard translation service, what we offer is this benefit and this benefit and this benefit, you know, 10 times, 1/10, whatever, right?
Awesome.
Okay. All right.
Awesome.
So I am so sorry. I gotta keep moving because Nelly.
No problem.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
So,
all right.
Who's
up next?
The next one is Mohit Madan, co-founder of Oro Pocket, India, New Delhi. Mohit.
Thank you so much, Nelly. Hey, Bill. So, Bill, every year the money that you have in your bank loses its value due to inflation. We are here to make sure that never happens again. Using Oro Pocket, you can invest in various assets and then use those assets as real money, as regular money with an asset-backed MasterCard. You can shop online, offline, or even withdraw cash at the ATM. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So, Oro, did you say Oro Pocket?
Oro Pocket, yes. So Oro stands for gold in Spanish.
Yeah, I know. I heard that earlier, right? I knew that before. So, I mean, are you really telling me that you're a gold bug? You're appealing to gold bugs, right? And so to the people who, you know, to start out with, every year you're losing money in your bank account because of inflation. Okay, I get that. But, you know, I mean, every year gold doesn't go up.
No, so
sometimes gold goes way down, right?
Absolutely right. So we are doing our POC with gold and silver, but we intend to add other assets and asset classes to the platform.
Okay, will you guarantee me that I won't lose money?
Of course, we can't guarantee you, but what we can guarantee you is
really.
No,
then you want me to bet? You want me to bet on your asset classes?
So one way there is 100% certainty that you're going to lose money due to inflation. On the other hand, we are offering you 100% insurance, 100% bailment, while making sure that you can use that money in real time, wherever, whenever you want.
Okay. Okay. So the cleverness here is that I can hold my wealth in assets other than cash, but nevertheless use them as cash.
Correct. 100% liquidity.
Okay. Up to some level, presumably, right?
Correct.
So you're going to put some cap on that, right? You're going to put a cap on that. So, correct? That okay.
Correct. Whatever the banking cap exists.
Okay. So why are you different than any other? You know, why are you different than the only way you're different is I could theoretically have zero assets in cash. Is what you're saying. But I mean, is that a compelling benefit? I mean, all you're saying is if you want to have 100% of all of your assets out of cash, you want zero assets in cash, then we are your only solution, because no one else will let you use a credit card if you, well, that's not true. I can have zero assets in cash and use a credit card and then liquidate, the day before payment. So I'm struggling to find a compelling value proposition here.
So there are
other than, I mean, it sounds, there's a cleverness, because, and I get it, in India, India is more gold centric than the US is. So, there is more, I think, the market is more attached to gold. Is that fair? Am I understanding correctly?
So US has more gold reserves than India, but the price of gold in India is 25% more expensive because of the daily use. So yes, you're absolutely right there. Now, there are two reasons why anyone should keep their money in assets rather than in cash. One, banks are failing left, right, and center. So just in the last 6 months, 3 banks have shut their doors in India. And every time that happens, millions of people lose their life savings. With us, you get 100% insurance. Second, because of COVID-19, $6 trillion have just been printed in US, and similar thing is happening in India, right, and various parts of the world. So the money is losing its value. It's not backed by anything. So you get ahead of that curve.
No, I mean, so I mean, so now have you launched yet? I mean, so then the flip side of this is regulatory, right? So you're going to have a regulatory issue. And then there's also the risk issue, because you're going to have to hold the assets someplace other than in your own vault, I assume, right? And so you're going to be subject to the possible failure of your partners. If one of your partners fails, then you fail, right? So, and there's nobody's going to insure you guys, I'm assuming. But I mean, I know, presumably if it's 100% backed by gold and there's no fraud anywhere in the system, then there's no way it can fail. But there's still some degree of risk in the system. Now in India, it probably makes more sense. In the US, in the US now, nobody's worried about bank failures anymore because the government can just print money. And the government can make sure that strong banks take weak banks, acquire weak banks. So banks don't fail in the US the way you're describing in India. So it could be it could make sense in India. It could make sense in India. I don't know. So this is one of those, I just don't know. But you haven't have you launched yet? Where are you?
So
you have launched. You have customers.
Private beta. The registrations are open only by invite. So we have organically grown to over 1,100 users. And we are seeing about $1,000 worth of transactions happening every day, completely organic. Another 1,500 people waiting in the queue.
Okay. And you've managed to figure out the regulatory requirements.
Correct. So
I assume you have a partner bank or something that's.
In fact, we have 7 partner banks.
Okay. So that's what you've done, is you've partnered with regulated institutions to take care of all this, right? Okay. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It could make sense. Yeah, I mean, I just would not be qualified to really know the sort of the big issues that you're going to face in India. I don't think it would make sense in the United States, but there could be other places in addition to India where it could make a lot of sense.
But Bill, that's the point. See, you mentioned that the government can print as much money as they want, and hence you think then the banks won't fail in the US. But see, the more money that they print, your money loses its value comparatively, right? The buying power, the purchasing power declines. So you fall.
No, I mean, yes, I get that. I do, I do get all that. But I also know that the price of gold is not gold is not a guaranteed asset in terms of retaining value. So, that's, and I invest my money in, in crazy things like startups, right? So obviously I'm not your target. I mean, so, all right.
So the last one.
But thank you, Mohit. Okay. And the last final.
But not the least.
Yes.
Sergey Chapligin. Sergey is founder of April from Russia, Moscow. Hi, Sergey.
Hi.
Okay. Здравствуйте, Sergey.
Здравствуйте, Bill. Okay, let's get it started.
Yes.
People suffer from stress and a good mood, especially now. I invented mobile application that substitutes psychologist by artificial intelligence in the role of processor, tutor, and friend. Psychology help will be affordable for billions of people as toothbrush. How would our planet change if 1 billion people become happier? That's it.
Right. That's a good tag. That's a good tagline. Okay. So all I really heard, so you were speaking a little bit quickly and a little bit flat in terms of your affect, was something about psychological health. And how you're going to do a better job of providing psychological health than anyone else is. So I assume that it's online. I assume you've got, you've got a combination of AI and real people, or AI, or what's the, I didn't understand exactly what your business is.
It is a mobile application. We are substituting this psychologist by artificial intelligence in the role of psychology processor.
Okay, so this is basically, I mean, people hate it when I say this, but this is basically a chat bot.
You have a video. You have a video chat by mobile application,
right? With an AI,
with pre-recorded video footages.
Pre-recorded video of what? I'm sorry.
Pre-recorded video fragments with the role of psychology processor. And it will be managed by artificial intelligence with
So I'm sorry, are you saying there are video snippets of a real psychologist or a real therapist
that
yes,
I get
but
to see
but
based on my need.
but it will be artificial psychologist.
It's an
it will be
avatar.
a
Is
machine.
that what you're saying?
Yes, yes, you will see the avatar
Okay.
in a role of psychologist processor. The application.
Psychologist processor. Psychologist
Yes,
processor. That's a new
correct.
term. Okay.
The application will recognize your emotions, mental conditions, and will provide to you in the form of game a psychologist process. It will be a digital mood lifter.
Okay.
Basically,
Okay. Well, isn't that what TikTok is?
No. No.
No, that's not what TikTok is. Okay, sorry. That was, but serious, semi-seriously. I mean, if I'm feeling low,
if you feel
I am as likely to go to TikTok as I am to some new app with an AI avatar. Right?
No, it is not a comedy because or some funny video because it's more seriously when people have a fear concerning neighbors, COVID, or lose jobs, money. It is not a bad, not good situation for a comedy movie. It's a psychology processing.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, you did make the crack, how much, imagine what the world would be like if 1 billion people were happier. And I guess, right. But what you're talking about is addressing serious, clinical situations using, is that fair?
The metaphor is a toothbrush can help you to provide tooth or mental hygiene.
Right.
But if you have a serious problem, you have to go to doctor.
Okay. All right. Okay. But that's what, Calm and Headspace, are representing, that they're a toothbrush for the mind, right?
Yes,
for
correct.
mental health. They're taking it, they're using meditation and not therapeutic models. You had said there was something like a fun game that the AI therapist would take you through.
The one of the public concern is the routine of psychologist processing, and it's hard to accept I have a problem, and we get idea to bring the psychologist processing in the form of game.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And I mean, again, do you have proof that this works?
We are working on the MVP now, and will be ready when we can.
All right. So your answer is you do not yet have proof that it works, right? And I know you don't want to say it that way, but but I do, back to the credibility, I need something. I mean, so the idea is a variation on things that we've heard before. I don't know if you've heard of a company called Soul Machines. Have you heard of Soul Machines? Have you looked at Soul Machines? So you should look at Soul Machines. Look at Soul Machines. It is definitely, I mean, so I actually tried to invest in the company and I was not able to. I mean, it's an extraordinarily impressive company. It's not doing exactly what you're doing, but it's doing, it's on the edge of what you're doing. They're not intending to be therapeutic, but they are intending to be responsive to customers' moods and situations in a social service kind of setting as one example. But look at Soul Machines. And then, in terms of the 20 seconds, part of it was just the audio is just not great. And it was just hard for me to hear all of your words.
I know, but it's not interactive. But we providing a personalization and customization for each session of processing.
Okay.
So
I would, you're going to launch in English or in Russian?
Excuse me, please.
Are you going to launch in English or in Russian?
I'm going to launch in United States when it will be possible.
Okay.
And I'm going to make this product for every nation in every country. And
okay, so I would love, once you have an MVP, I would love to try it.
Okay.
Okay. I'd love to see these screens. Okay.
I'll send you a promo code.
All right. Okay. Please. Thank you. All right. Coaching хорошо. Okay.
Bill,
all right.
Do you want
yes.
to choose those startups with whom you want to follow up now, or I should send you all their pitch decks and then you will tell me with whom you would like to follow up?
Okay, that'd be the easiest. It's for me to go back and recreate would be hard. So, but I did take some notes, so I do have some something that will jog my memory. And yes, if you can send me decks or something, that would be great. Okay.
Okay, I will send you decks and profiles.
Okay, I do apologize that I was much slower than you guys had anticipated. And now Nelly. So Nelly, there are, I don't know what's in there, it says there are 34 chats in there. Could you capture all of that as well? And I don't know if there's an easy way. Is there an easy way to capture this?
Well, if you want, Bill, I'll just save it all up, and then I will be able to send it. I hope so. But at least I just copied it and I pasted it in the doc format, so we will surely have a description of all the chat that we've been doing. So yeah.
I'd be interested in seeing that, because I wasn't able to actually do any Q&A other than the
actually, we
entrepreneurs.
Also have the YouTube channel where we have a lot of questions from the viewers.
Okay.
But if you have to run, we can answer them later in remote mode. Okay. Not more late than you are already for your next meeting.
Okay. And very good. Guys, it was a pleasure and an honor spending time with you all. I wish you all the greatest success. Okay, and remember, clear, be compelling, and be credible. All right.
Okay. You are amazing. I hope that today maybe you found your future unicorn.
I hope. Thank you, Nelly. I appreciate that. Okay. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Bye all.
Thank you
Goodbye.
very much.
Bye.
Take care, Bill.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
So guys, we will have the recorded version of everything. We will send it to you. I will send to Bill all your startup profiles, all your pitch decks, and you will follow up directly. You have seen he made all the notes and he remembers those startups with whom he wants to follow up. If you want to reach out to him yourself, you have his contact details. But I think that the proper way will be when Bill will come back to us with the chosen profiles. We will make the introduction, and then you will pitch directly and discuss the investment conditions and everything. Thank you for your patience. I know that in your countries it can be night or early morning or midday or whatever. You took your time, 2 hours. It's quite a lot, and thanks a lot for your patience. I hope it's worth it.
Thank you very much. It was very interesting.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Well done, everyone.
Cheers, Nelly.
Yeah, I hope that we will be able to repeat this format soon with another investor.
Great.
Yes,
that will be great.
Sure.
Amazing.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And have a beautiful.
Take care, everyone. Take care, everyone. Well done. One more time.
Have a good one.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.